It is your money in the economy, priority one with a lot of people, and it is turning many of us into nervous wrecks. A political website, it's called The Hill. It reports in a new poll that they took that 75% of people were either very or somewhat worried that the country is about to be headed towards another recession. And we are talking with financial advisor Joe Bert, the Oracle of Orlando. Joe, always great to talk to you. Is it reasonable, these fears that people have, that we might be heading towards another recession, perhaps even one worse than we saw in 2008?
It's reasonable to have the fears, but when you dig behind it, Bob, I don't think you should have the fears.
So you can assuage those fears, and that's why we have you here. Assuage away.
Let me do my best.
Do.
People remember 2008. First of all, it's in recent history.
Yes.
It's the worst recession you and I have ever lived through.
Yes.
And once you've been down on the ground, kicked in the head, you're always looking about what's coming at you next.
Yeah, you're still stinging.
This is totally different than 2008. Let's go back to 2008 where we were.
And housing. It was all about housing.
Well, it was about housing. The housing bubble was just beginning to burst, but we hadn't seen the worst of it, which is where we had been the last couple of years. But that's where we were. Oil was at $150 a barrel.
Okay.
Lehman, the wheels had just started to come off of Lehman and all that stuff that happened. Corporations were still fat. You know, they had a lot. Today, corporations are
they were
right
still
sized.
Too big to fail.
Yeah, well, the banks were okay.
Yeah, okay.
But corporations had a lot of overkill, if you will, a lot of staff. They've cut back. There's a couple $1 trillion on corporate balance sheets today.
Okay.
We don't have that kind of environment today. The Fed is ready to prime the pump if something happens. They've done a QE2. You've had the twist and all that. They're ready to jump in if something needs to be done.
So we're leaner?
We're leaner. We're smarter. We're in anticipation of something happening. It ain't going to happen.
And we don't have a bubble to burst anyway.
It's already, that's my point.
It's already burst.
That's correct.
Are you surprised, though, that among voters, despite where we are, that presidents had 4 years, essentially 3.5, that there's still basically split, voters are, on who would do a better job? No,
I'm not surprised, because we're still early in the season. You're going to begin to see some of these political ads come out. And once I think the Republicans get fired up about what's really transpired over the last 3.5 years and really lay out what President Obama has promised and has failed to do, and how his policies have really jeopardized our growth, we should have tremendous GDP growth with the tremendous stimulus that we've had, but it's been abysmal, and that's what I think the Republicans will bang on.
So you're saying essentially that the president should be taking more shots than he has been taking if Americans were more educated?
Well, he will be getting the shots, I can tell you, and that's why I think that right now it's probably pretty split, because the Republicans have not yet fired up the big cannons.
Okay. All right, Joe.
All right,
talking to you.
Thanks, sir.